Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our Shadows of the Galaxy first look. Set 2. It's almost here.
Well, don't get too excited.
I
We still got to wait a few months.
A
few months away, yeah.
If people could have waited for set 1 for as long as they did, this is a very short one. We're in good shape. We're super excited to just chat about I almost said Spark of Rebellion. I got to get out of this headspace. Shadows of the Galaxy with you all today. And we're going to go through some of the cards. If you've seen the article on our website, make sure you check that out if you haven't. It has a bunch of really cool cards and explains a little bit about it. But we want to talk a little bit more about the themes of the set and what you can expect as we dive into the Outer Rim and some of the sub-themes around it. Before we get into everything, I just had a couple of things that I wanted to say is that while we are showing off new cards now, this is not the beginning of our preview season in full swing or anything. We still got a little time. We want to really enjoy Spark of Rebellion for a little bit longer. You can look forward to some teases, some art drops, some cards here and there, but we'll be getting further into that in the future. But also we did put another live stream on the schedule. So if you saw our schedule go live yesterday, we added another one today. We're going to dive into all the new mechanics of Shadows of the Galaxy with these three fine gentlemen here and get into what you can expect. But we're going to talk a little bit more about them today too. So without further ado, I'll let Tyler take it away. Let's hear about what is Shadows of the Galaxy. What are we seeing here?
Great. Welcome to Shadows of the Galaxy. This is Star Wars Unlimited Set 2. This is the Outside the Law set. This is not a set for eras. This is a set for all of the things that exist outside the law in all of the eras of Star Wars. So most prominently, you're going to see criminals, you're going to see lawbreakers, you're going to see organized crime. You're going to see organized crime from lots of different parts of Star Wars. In some cases, you'll see people you expect. In some cases, you'll see some familiar or even unexpected faces. You're going to see, remember that smugglers are also criminals, depending on your point of view. So you're going to see some prominent faces of people smuggling against the law. You're going to see people who have bounties on them, and the bounty hunters that pursue them. So you're going to see criminals, lawbreakers, smugglers, people with bounties, people hunting bounties. You're also going to see scavengers and survivors, people who live outside the law because they are outside of civilization, and they're just kind of out on their own, making their own way. And another prominent element that doesn't quite fit into what I've been describing is there's a prominent Mandalorian theme in the set. Now, obviously, this is tied into the fact that the Mandalorian himself is a leader in the set, but also Mandalorians have been historically more isolated from the rest of the galaxy, whether by their own culture or after the fall of their civilization when they're surviving in the shadows themselves. So you're going to see lots of different parts of Star Wars. It's all going to be in this sort of outside society, outside the law theme.
Very cool. And so a good example of that is the starter leaders that we've shown off the art months ago now, but we also have now revealed the full cards. So Jeremy, why don't you walk us through the two leaders we have coming in the starter, two-player starter?
Yeah, we got Mandalorian versus Moff Gideon. So very exciting to see such a classic matchup. Mandalorian, he's a cunning heroic leader. His top ability is when you play an upgrade, you can exhaust him. If you do, then you can exhaust a unit with 4 or less remaining hit points. So Mandalorians have kind of a theme of upgrades matter. So you see lots of upgrades they want to play on your own units, and even some upgrades you want to play on your opponent's units. We'll talk about that a little later on with bounties. So he works very well with upgrading your own units and putting bounties on your enemy units to exhaust them, to try to represent going after them with the bounty hunter field. And then when you deploy him, he deploys for 6 or more resources. He'll be a 4/7 units. And then his ability kind of carries over from the front, but makes it a little more open-ended. And when you play an upgrade, you can exhaust a unit that costs with remaining hit points 6 or less. So it can be pretty powerful. I know we have had a lot of fans within the company playing him for quite a while. So Xander, kind of like Thrawn, you'd like to be able to exhaust those units down. And
it solves a problem temporarily. That's as far as I need to go.
So yeah, you're going to be a lot of fun having a heroic leader that can kind of do that as well. And it'll kind of to do the Thrawn villain set. Now heroes have the ability as well to leader, so pretty cool stuff. Then we got Moff Gideon. Moff is a command villainous leader. As an action, you can exhaust him to attack a unit. If that unit is cost 3 or less, and as attacking unit, it gets +1/+0 for the attack, which is really nice to be able to go after, encourage combat interaction with your opponents. And then he deploys for 5 resources, and he turns into a 3/6 unit. And then his ability gets kind of better, where same kind of thing, where you want to play lots of lower cost units, try to maybe more of a swarm strategy, and they get +1/+0 and overwhelm when they attack enemy units. So that gets a nice combination there with additional power and overwhelm.
Very cool. So, I don't know about you, but I've seen the reactions this morning, and it's such a perfect divide between people that are like, I'm so excited about Moff Gideon, but I am not as like, Mando seems fine. And then other people that are like, the Mandalorian is the best leader I've ever seen.
Yep.
Need to play him. Moff Gideon's okay. So I personally love both, but it's super fun to see the mixed reactions, and I think there's a lot for everybody to be excited about in the 2-player starter as well.
I'm excited to see villain swarm decks get a little bit of love on Gideon.
Yeah,
it's something we talked about actually, where building off of set 1, there's going to be new avenues to explore where, like, previously villains had more exhaust, like with Thrawn, and heroes had more swarm, and like seeing that reverse in set 2 is going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah. Big change of themes across the board, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
And so we also talked about in the first look article a little bit about 2 out of the 3 new mechanics in this first set. So Danny, why don't you give everybody a little overview of like what are bounty and capture?
Sure, yeah. So I guess we'll start with bounty, as Jeremy alluded to already, a new mechanic that basically rewards you for taking out your opponent's units. So there are going to be cards in the set where you can put a bounty on an enemy unit, and then if you defeat that unit, or capture it, as we'll get to in a second, you get a reward. Maybe you ready resources or draw cards, or it could be anything really. You get some kind of reward for taking out their unit. Bounty is also, it's a keyword, so it could also go on units themselves. If a unit is like a wanted criminal, it could just inherently have a bounty attached to it. So that's a pretty exciting one. It can really give you an incentive to interact with certain units on your opponent's board. Capture is the other new mechanic we talked about, which is a temporary way to deal with an opponent's unit. So when you capture a unit, you'll take it, it'll go out of play, guarded by one of your units. And then if your opponent ever takes your unit out of play, the unit that's guarding the captured unit, they'll get their unit back. So it can be an efficient way to deal with an enemy unit, but it's temporary. If they take out your guarding unit, they get their unit back.
It's like in the return to hand space.
Yeah.
Like, it'll go away, but not forever.
Temporary removal, that's perfect. Speak my language immediately.
Yeah.
Cool.
So as you mentioned, there is a third mechanic in the set that we're not going to dive into now, but we can say I think that it's called Smuggle, and is probably my favorite of the new mechanics in the set. It does some really cool things, really exciting options.
I heard this set was full of smugglers.
Yeah.
There might be a smuggler in the set.
Well, you can check back in a couple weeks. Again, we'll be talking all about all 3 of the new mechanics, including Smuggle, and going into why it's Danny's favorite, apparently.
That's really
Mine
cool.
too.
And your favorite too?
Jeremy's as well, yeah.
See, we're going to have so much fun. We're going to really get into it.
I'm on team capture.
Capture's cool. Capture's cool.
Great.
A quick clarification on capture, just to help people out. If you capture a unit, it does get rid of all the damage and upgrades on that unit. So it can be very good against units stacking upgrades. Can be kind of risky if your opponent's unit has a bunch of damage on it already. You will heal them.
But if you do a bunch more damage and then it is defeated, then you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, I can't argue with that logic. You're right.
And then you get to collect its bounty. That's where I was going with this.
True.
I don't want to capture your guy to get the bounty. I want to defeat your guy to get the bounty.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I answered a question from the chat real quick, which was, will this set be the same size as the first set? I think we can publicly state that it's around the same size, but how many cards is in this one? It's
it is
262.
262.
Yeah.
I wanted to be sure. Yeah, 262 cards, so very similar. 10 extra cards, right? Yeah, it's 252.
Yeah, but there's an asterisk there. That
they'll
find out about later.
We'll get to that later. But
there's an asterisk there that they'll find out about later.
Basically the same size as the first set.
Yeah. Very exciting. So we also revealed, besides the mechanics, the leaders, a couple of really cool cards today. And
More than a couple.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. It's a very, 9 cards? Something
Yeah,
like that?
a ship full of cool
ship.
new cards.
There, including one.
I was gonna say, there's
or
2 ships
really
on the
cool
list.
ships, Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go through all of these cards. We're just going to chat a little bit about all of them and what they mean for the set and what they represent for it. So let's start with the Phase 3 Dark Trooper.
This is a card that I'm particularly excited about because I got to put a Dark Forces reference on it because they referenced it in the TV show. It's a Phase 3 Dark Trooper. It's not just any Dark Trooper. They discovered that the first 2 models didn't work, and that's the same as the legend. That's a reference to the Legends lore where that was also true.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I'm really excited just to play with this card. Like, I think I mentioned in the previous stream, I have a mono green Palpatine deck that
Yeah.
plays cell block guards to grab off a Vader unit. But I'm always disappointed that my cell block guards don't heal me with Colonel Yularen. Problem solved.
No.
Problem solved.
We got it, and they get to be better.
Yeah, and they get a little bonus if you try to take them out with multiple little units.
Yeah, that's nice. Let's go into Calculated Lethality then, next. Jerry, what do you think about Calculated Lethality?
It's a nice removal card. Clearly, it works against kind of there's encouragement in this set to play a lot of upgrades. So use a card that rewards you if your opponent does have a lot of upgrades to get more benefits off of that.
It plays great with bounties. You put a bounty on their unit, and then you defeat them with this. You get an experience.
Yep.
That's nice.
Yeah, really good with bounties, really good against wing leaders and TIE advance, right? Yeah.
The Wing Leader Menace.
All right, next we have Gideon's Light Cruiser, which I saw a lot of conversation about already this morning. So, what do you think about this one, Tyler?
It's exciting to see people compare this to Home One because there is a natural comparison point there. Obviously, this one you need to be playing Moff Gideon, but it would make sense that Gideon's Light Cruiser is mostly only going to go in Moff Gideon decks. The key there was when we were designing this, we needed it to be big enough to make sense to be a light cruiser, but also go in the deck where the leader tells you to play 3 drops. And so we wanted to find a way to make sense that why this 8 cost card would go in a deck full of 3 drops. I think we succeeded.
Yeah.
You get your Dark Trooper back.
Very cool. Next we have Wanted, which is the first bounty, I believe, that we've shown.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, classic example of a bounty upgrade where the play pattern, again, is you will attach this to an enemy unit, and then if you defeat that enemy unit or capture it, you'll get to ready 2 resources. It costs 0 also, which is a pretty big reward. Very nice in the Mandalorian deck specifically, where you can pay 0 to exhaust
a unit.
and then get extra resources later.
That's the value right there.
Yeah, it's the real deal.
I like the design space of bounties as this could be an event, but we made it not an event, and the reward is it costs less to play.
Yeah.
Because there's this extra hoop of now I have to go hunt down the unit and defeat them or capture them. Or
Yeah, there are some really good ones that we're going to show off later in previews where it's like, ooh, you get a really nice bonus if you get this bounty.
Yeah, I'm excited for some of those.
You also stack multiple bounties on the same unit.
Yes.
Oh yeah, make them really
Really, really good to get rid of. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So next we have something that goes along with the Mandalorian. So we have the Mandalorian's rifle.
This is a capture. This is capturing units can be quite effective, as we've learned from Waylay, right? So this is a 3 cost +3/+0 capture. Anything, almost anything, exhausted. Which whatever, Mando's going to exhaust them first.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
You can
play it on
stack the
Mando,
triggers how you
he
want.
exhausts the unit, you capture the unit. Yeah,
that's
that's
great.
nice. And the nice thing about capturing onto your leader is that leaders are usually a bit safer. Like the risk of capturing onto like my little 3/3 is that my opponent will just take it out. But
A 4/7 is much harder to get
a
rid of.
4/7 that's now a 7/7.
That's now a 7/7,
because of this
yeah.
rifle is a lot harder to take out.
I'm already thinking about putting units captured on Cheer It. And then just making
Yeah,
it impossible
let's
to get back.
go.
Yeah.
That's immediately what I'm
Can't be
thinking.
returned to hand. Can't be defeated. Can't be captured. Let's go.
Your guy is mine.
Yeah.
I will
Everything
point
works in
out.
Cheer It.
I will point out that similar to return to hand effects, captures will categorically not be able to work on leaders.
So you can
Yeah.
capture somebody else's.
Yeah, you can't
Can't capture a leader.
knock out someone's leader.
That makes sense.
And that's S rarity, so it is one of the starter deck exclusive cards. Not in booster packs, just in the starter.
And we're calling it special rarity, but yes, these are all starter
special rarity,
yeah,
yeah.
starter deck exclusive ones. Because we made that switch recently, but yes, they are all special rarity.
Yeah.
And these are all from the 2-player starter deck, correct? All of the cards we've shown so far?
All the cards we have shown so far are from
all-
the starter,
Yes.
are
Are
from the
all-
2-player
yes.
starter
Sorry.
exclusively.
Yes.
And so is the next one, which is one of my favorite cards in the set.
Let's talk about it. The Razor Crest, right?
This card is just, it's such good value. It's so good in kind of your mid-rangey defensive blue hero deck, where it's a 3/4 restore 2 in space. It's going to take out a lot of the smaller space units. It's going to heal your base. And then when played, you get an upgrade back from your discard pile. This is especially good with bounties. I've played a lot of decks whose plan is round 1 or 2, play a bounty, defeat the unit that has the bounty, and then round 3, here comes Razor Crest, get the bounty back, do it all again.
Yeah,
It feels great. It's so good.
Yeah,
Razor Crest is where he stores all the pucks.
Exactly, yeah.
I am very intrigued by the Razor Crest, but I also think it's very funny that your favorite cards from set 1 and 2 that you like are very excited about are 3/4 ships.
I do love 3/4
Oh,
ships.
yeah,
They're
that's
great.
true. That's a
Just a
running
big
theme.
fan.
And also,
Awfully interesting. Keep an eye out. Set
one
3's coming.
of my other favorite cards.
Danny really doesn't like Green Squadron A-Wing.
That's true.
I
Yeah,
love Green
canonically
Squadron
does
A-Wing.
not like Green Squadron A-Wing.
Yeah.
So we have one more that is included in the 2-player starter, which is Grogu, which it just seems great.
Look at this guy.
Oh, yeah. Actually, they did point out correctly that Wanted is common in the set.
Oh, common in the set as well.
The bounty is not a starter-only card.
Oh, no. Yeah. I think several of them are. I might be wrong.
I think that
There are some that are, they're not starter exclusive, but they're in
the
the
set.
deck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the set.
Oh, yeah. It's like
yeah.
the last time where most of the
not
deck is
special
not
rarity.
starter-only cards.
Anyways, Grogu is special rarity.
Grogu's here.
And this is a heck of a 2-cost unit. 0/5, not going to attack much, but action exhaust to exhaust an enemy unit. That is, any enemy unit. He can exhaust a space unit, he can exhaust your opponent's leader.
Nice
Grogu can do it
Devastator.
all.
Nice
Yeah.
Devastator. Would be a shame if it went to
It'd
sleep.
be a shame if it saw cute little Grogu and got distracted and decided not to attack.
He's irresistible.
He is irresistible. And he's also a 2-cost 5 HP force unit is relevant. I have put a lot of Jedi lightsabers on Grogu
Oh,
and had a great time with it.
There's an upgrade in this set that is my favorite card to put on Grogu. I can't talk about it yet because obviously we haven't previewed it yet. But when it comes out, I will be insufferable. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that personally.
I will say, a great question in chat. Will this set help set 1 leaders?
Yes.
Yes. We haven't previewed the card yet, but one of my favorite cards in set 2 is a 4-cost blue hero unit that is awesome with Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Love that card so much. I can't wait till it gets previewed.
That's right.
But that's just one example. Like, there's lots of great stuff for many leaders. Great stuff for Han Solo. Great stuff for other leaders I'm sure I'm not thinking of.
You just mentioned like Palpatine.
Yeah.
Playing,
Palpatine.
the
Oh,
Dark
Palpatine.
Trooper in it.
Palpatine's going to get some stuff.
Inquisitor.
Inquisitor for
Inquisitor
sure.
gets some tools for
Inquisitor
sure.
gets a lot, actually, which I'm excited. I'm personally excited about.
Well, we have one more card that we wanted to talk about today. Before we get, like the little surprise kind of hints towards something.
yeah,
That is the Mandalorian unit card, which is our first legendary for this set. I was very excited that we were showing this off today. So who would chat about this one?
I love this card. I've played this card a lot. I've actually played it in a Luke Skywalker deck a lot, alongside Grogu, yellow-blue hero Luke, where this it comes down as a 5/6 Sentinel, hard to get through. And if you have a valuable 2-cost unit, just fully healing and giving 2 shields to it is huge. Again, Grogu with a lightsaber. Now it's healed. Now it has 2 shields.
Oh gosh.
3/8 with 2 shields. Let's go.
Yeah, I love this card. There's similar vibes in some ways to set 1 Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? Where they're both 6-cost Sentinels in
6 HP.
in Vigilance Hero, where they're going to give a bonus to one of your other units, just in different ways. Mando comes down, gives it immediately to a certain kind of unit. Obi-Wan is going to give a delayed bonus to a different kind of unit.
And a bigger bonus, if we're going to be honest. The +2/+2.
we have to
I
wait
think.
for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
2 shields is a lot of shields.
That is so many.
Yeah, but on a 2-drop, I mean, obviously, if you give him a lightsaber.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got to think that full picture. Jedi lightsaber, that's happening. So we also want to talk about 2 cards that you might recognize from the first set, which are the tokens.
They're back.
They're back. The tokens.
So in set 1, we had experience tokens and shield tokens. In set 2, we also have experience tokens and shield tokens. They have new art though this time to highlight the new environment they're in.
Yep.
This was something I was particularly excited about as someone coming at this from a creative angle, is that what experience means and what shields mean in different contexts can be really interesting. In set 1, of course, the experience is Luke trained with Yoda. In set 2, there's no one training the Mandalorian. But you know what teaches you really, really well? Life experiences, like your ship getting blown up. And so the experience token is the Mandalorian after his ship gets defeated, and he then has to change his outlook and priorities. He has to grow as a person from it. And since there's a strong Mandalorian theme, Mandalorians are well known for having lots of armor. We wanted the shield token to reference the fact that they have cool armor, and they have these little cool energy shields.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I do love this. I do love that shield art a lot.
I'm just gonna say the word armor next to the word shield really, really pointedly.
There you go. Cool. So before we wrap up with one last thing, let's answer some questions from the chat. So is this set built around draft and sealed again?
Always.
Always.
Yes, yeah. Every set's gonna have draft and sealed. Gonna have pre-release event again where you'll be playing sealed, similar to set 1. Yeah.
Very cool. And so another question, I don't know if we can answer that yet, so let's avoid that one. Great questions from the chat. We've got a lot of really fun stuff coming in the next couple weeks to talk about Shadows of the Galaxy as well as Spark of Rebellion. But we're just in the beginning of it, so we don't want to spoil everything just yet. But we know that all of you like to hear what cards that some of the designers are looking forward to most as we get into the set. And so one thing we're going to do is give you the card number for all 3 of these designers' favorite cards in this set, so you know what to look for as it gets closer. You can even give a little hint.
I was saying, I'm gonna give more than the card number.
Yeah, give the card number. Give them a little hint of what's to come. Let's hear it.
I'm gonna give you even more because I forgot to write down the card number. I think it was one.
Don't even.
I don't know.
I don't know. If you miss, you'll look bad.
Anyways, I can tell you it's a 1-cost yellow event that's super fun to play. Plays into the set themes that Tyler was talking about really well, and has my all-time favorite title of any card in either of sets 1 or 2.
I think that's good because you'll know it when you see it.
You will. When you see this card, you'll be like, oh, that's
know
a
when
good
you see
title.
it.
Yeah.
My favorite card in the set is card number 124. Write it down in your little spreadsheets. It's the most exciting capture effect in this, or the most compelling capture effect in the set, in my opinion.
Mine is a card, one of my earliest designs I ever had. It wasn't set 1 for a while, and eventually we pushed it back to set 2 because it's just too cool. So
yeah.
Set 1 is
Too
more
much
so
cool
much
stuff in set 1.
Yeah, we did something for set 2. So it's card number 109, I believe. And I think it's the most expensive card in the game. So when you play it, there's a good chance you might win the game. So very exciting whenever you do get the result of it.
Yeah.
It's also one of my favorite cards. Play that card a lot. I love it.
I'm surprised you wanting to win games. That's the card you chose.
Yeah. I mean, not the best card to win games with because it's so expensive.
But it's fun to do.
It's so fun.
It's so fun to do.
It is the card that I have the highest percentage of when I play this card, I win the game afterwards.
That's exciting. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us today. I think that about wraps us up for this first look at Shadows of the Galaxy. Stay tuned for more information. Tune in next week as we talk with some of the art directors about what it's like working on Star Wars Unlimited. And 2 weeks from now as we dive more into bounty, capture, and smuggle mechanics of Shadows of the Galaxy. Thanks all. We'll see you next time.